Welcome. You've arrived at another quiet chapter of Insurance ASMR Bedtime Stories by COR Insurance Services, where we trace the roots of protection and remember why we care for one another. Take a slow breath in and exhale gently. We're so glad you're here. Please like and subscribe to be notified whenever another gentle chapter is added. Let's begin. Before there were policies, before signatures and seals, there was only a question. If I die tomorrow, who will bury me? That question echoed softly through ancient homes, temples, and village gatherings. Long before anyone insured ships or houses, the first thing human beings wanted to protect was dignity, the promise of a proper farewell. In ancient Egypt, families and neighbors placed small coins into shared jars so no one would face the silence of an unpaid burial. In Greece, friends formed gentle clubs called aranoi, each person contributing to the next person's peace. In Rome, the Collegia Tenorium, little societies of workers, collected dues to ensure every member would rest with honor. They didn't call it insurance, they called it care. As centuries turned, these burial clubs became guilds and benevolent circles. Groups of stonemasons, blacksmiths, and merchants who pledged to help one another in sickness, in loss, and in life. When one candle went out, the others made sure the room stayed lit. Those small acts of solidarity became the first written promises and the heartbeat of what we now call insurance. Over time, those small circles of compassion grew. What began as a coin in a jar became a signature and eventually a system. Burial clubs inspired early forms of life insurance, ways to continue caring for loved ones after death. Because even when life ends, love shouldn't have to. Today, we have many ways to continue that ancient kindness. One of them is final expense insurance, a small, simple life policy designed to cover funeral and related costs. It's flexible. Funds can be used for burial, cremation, travel, or anything a family needs to say goodbye with peace. Final expense isn't about money, it's about time for your family to breathe. Preneed insurance is tied directly to a specific funeral home. It locks in today's prices and the exact arrangements you choose. It's personal, thoughtful, and closest to the very first kind of insurance we spoke about earlier. Final expense insurance pays a cash benefit to your beneficiary. It's flexible, portable, and can be used for anything related to the transition, travel costs, memorials, or unexpected needs. It's peace of mind with a little cushion. At COR Insurance Services, our view is simple. It's better to have something than to have nothing at all. And just as important, every family, every individual should have the policy that fits their needs, their budget, and their wishes. Your insurance specialist, whether they're with our agency or any agent who assists with these types of plans, should have one primary focus: helping families find the plan that feels right. Whether it's pre-need, final expense, or simply a conversation that begins with thoughtfulness and consideration. Funeral costs have risen by nearly $1,000 each year for the past 5 years. As long as you're alive, it may not feel urgent to prepare, but like most types of protection, the earlier you start, the further your dollars stretch. Planning ahead doesn't make death come sooner. It just makes peace arrive earlier. It wasn't always taboo. Once upon a time, families spoke openly about final wishes. They chose their clothing, their music, even their favorite flowers for the service. For generations, especially the silent generation and those before them, this was normal, a final act of thoughtfulness. Somewhere between the boom and the silence, we stopped talking about it. But death is the one thing we all will face someday. Better to be prepared than caught off guard. I never want to see another family holding a last-minute car wash or sharing Cash App links just to pay for an unexpected funeral. We can do better than that. A simple plan, bought early, paid off quietly, can save your family from chaos and give them peace instead. You might already have life insurance, and that's a wonderful foundation. But here's something many people don't realize. The beneficiary of your life insurance policy has no legal obligation to use those funds for your funeral or for any of the expenses that come after you pass away. Sometimes the person you trust most may be grieving too deeply to make decisions, or they may have their own financial needs and pressures. That's why having a dedicated pre-need or final expense policy brings clarity and relief. It ensures those specific costs are covered immediately, without confusion and without leaving anyone in conflict. And while we're talking about planning, a will on its own doesn't protect your estate the way movies and TV often suggest. A will states your wishes, but it doesn't automatically control how debts are handled and how assets transfer. There are other tools like trust, transfer on death designations, and beneficiary assignments that work together to ensure your intentions are honored both during your lifetime and afterward. We'll dive deeper into those topics in future episodes of Insurance ASMR Bedtime Stories. But for now, know that once you begin putting your affairs in order, every plan you already have becomes even more powerful. Organization adds meaning, and meaning brings peace. A policy is one layer, a plan is another. The best protection is built when every piece knows where it belongs. Talk with licensed professionals, insurance agents, estate planners, trust attorneys to make sure your wishes are clear and connected. That's how love turns into legacy. From coins in clay jars to policies tucked in family binders, the promise is still the same. To be remembered with care, to leave love, not burden. And that is the story of the first insurance and every tender promise that followed. Good night. If this episode of Insurance ASMR, Bedtime Stories by COR Insurance Services, brought you a little peace, and you'd like to hear more, there's a whole playlist of stories much like this one. Subscribe for more gentle chapters and to be informed when new stories are added. Thank you.